Hello everyone, this is Jerry again. Our topic today is an interesting one, and you won't find this in very many places. Avoiding problem tenants. I have a pretty surefire way of avoiding problem tenants, and here it is. If you have a good feeling about a prospective tenant and you have decided to run a credit check on them, it might be easier and without the legality hassle if you have them run one on themselves and give you the original copy to review. You indicate that while you're waiting for this credit report and a copy of their pay stubs, ask them if it'd be all right for you to drop by their house to fill out the application form for your rental home. What you want is to see how they live in the house they are now living in. If you get a long silence, the stone wall, or they indicate they don't have time, consider they might be hiding something. By the time you fill out the application in the presence in their own home, you'll know if you're going to rent to them or not, no matter that the credit report said they have good credit. If they happen to ask you why you want to come to their house, just say, "Oh, that's been my policy for years." You have to be very careful when you indicate to a tenant that you have rejected their application. By law, the reason cannot be for race, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, age, etc. You've heard all of them before. It's your house, and I know you think I should be able to rent to anybody you want to. Well, when you put your house out in the public rental market, you've just agreed to follow the laws of the country. You cannot discriminate when renting or selling real estate. The penalties are severe. Don't even think about it. There are still many reasons, though, you can reject a prospective tenant's. If they live like slobs, that's a reason. If they have pets and you don't allow them, that's a reason. If either one is a smoker and you don't allow smoking. If they have a certain number of children that would overwhelm the living spaces, that's a reason. I don't know about other states, but here in Texas, it's 2 person per bedroom. That's the maximum. As long as the reason doesn't fall into the category of discrimination outlined in the civil rights laws. Ask your attorney or property management agent if you need further explanation. Sometimes a prospective tenant will indicate that one of them is self-employed. That should set off warning bells in your head. This will indicate to me I'm going to have a tough time verifying that income. My experience is that they always overstate their income. Unless the tenant can verify at least 2 years of income with a copy of his 1040A tax return, I wouldn't touch it. Just too much trouble for you. Just tell them up front, 2 years of 1040As or it's a no-go. What about tenant that checks out okay on his credit, but you don't have a warm feeling that they will take care of your property? Well, you can write up in the lease agreement with special provisions, for instance, that the lawns, shrubs, and trees will be watered once a week. Now, that's going to be hard to enforce, but if that's what you want and the tenant agrees to do it, then he doesn't follow through with it, you can sue him for breach of contract. Basically, you could force a tenant to move out of the property and possibly have them pay for replanting dead plants and so on. Good luck on collecting anything from a tenant after they move out. That's why we have security deposits in leases. If the tenant's credit report checks out and the numbers fall within the range of very good to excellent credit, say 650 to 750 on the 850 scale, you should probably rent to them. You always have some risk that the tenant will not be right for you. Generally, a very good credit report will indicate you're not going to have a problem. You'll just need to go ahead and rent to them. Accepting a tenant is easy. Telling a prospective tenant you do not approve their application, or you did not approve their application, is not easy. Keep in mind, they wanted your property, and if they were like me, they've already envisioned themselves living in your property. You sort of stepped on their hopes and dreams, so tread carefully. I would say something like this: I hate this part of my job, but I'm going to have to decline your offer to rent my home. The reason is that I feel your income and credit card payments will put you into a position where you'll not be able to meet the rental payments. Your credit is good, but I feel that this house is just too costly for you right now. I am sorry. As you can see, you need to have a reason. You can back up with the facts, the credit report, and a copy of their pay stubs. But you hadn't slammed the door on their hopes either. You left the door cracked a little bit. Another good way to eliminate borderline problem tenants is to have a healthy security deposit. In the last few years, I've gone from a deposit of approximately half a month's rent to a full month's rent for a deposit. The result: better tenants and tenants that are more careful about the upkeep of the property. If you get lookers that whine about the deposit, just consider they can't afford to rent the property anyway. That deposit will eliminate those on the fence and couldn't afford it in the first place. Also consider that tenant probably never got a deposit returned to them in their life. Don't forget, it's perfectly okay to charge a non-refundable pet deposit if your state laws permit you to do so. I've been doing it for years. Why? Well, first off, I like pets. I had a cat in my house that never leaves my side. I had the most wonderful small dog that was my friend for 17 years until she was killed in an accident. The fact is this: some people who really want to keep their pets will pay a pet deposit. You will separate people who have pets and people who treasure their pets and really take care of them. Now they have equity in the value of having a dog or cat in your house. As of yet, I have never had a person who paid a non-refundable pet deposit leave an unclean house when they moved out. I have plenty of people in the early days of my landlord experience who did. I told them no pets and they brought them in anyway. Many of these same people who left my house trashed it when they moved out. More alarm bells should sound when you hear something like this from prospective tenants. You know, I like your house and everything, but if I could do some repair work to cover part of the rent each month, I think we have a deal. This should tell you that this person can't afford your rent but wants to move in anyway with this ploy. He or she knows by the time you evict them, they could practically stay free for a few months. I've been suckered by this one time. I felt desperate to rent one of my homes that was undergoing extensive repairs, and the guy convinced me to let him have a shot at repairing the home and paying me rent. It didn't work out at all. The guy didn't pay the rent after 1 month and then only did a token amount of work that he claimed paid his rent in full. He finally agreed to move out when I agreed to refund all of his deposit on the spot. Sometimes it's better to cut your losses, avoid a legal standoff, and just pay them to go away. Never again did I fall for that line. Now, what I'm giving you here are some experiences I've had. Now, a lot of these people on YouTube, they don't even talk about stuff like this because they don't have really a long-term experience with rental property like I do. Anyway, this is not the same thing as a seasoned tenant whose repair work is known to you to be of good quality and value. In this case, you might want him doing work on your other homes. The only thing you have to watch here is trading work for rent income. Personally, I would insist that he needs to continue to pay rent as usual each month, and you write him or her a check for the work done. This is the only way that ever worked for me. Besides, it's easier to track expenditures and income for your records, and it makes it easier to do your taxes. Okay, well, that's all I got today. Thanks for coming on board, and we'll see you next time. Bye.